Okay, on this video, I'm going to explain the even ones. And this is not ready to combine and cancel, right? So you got to ask yourself, to cancel out the x's, you need to have exact opposite values. There's a positive 5x, you need a negative 5x down here. But you cannot change the 3 to a negative 5 unless you multiply by fractions, so we don't want to do that. So you look at your y's, you have a negative 2y and a positive 6y, and you want them to be opposites, and you can change the negative 2 to become a negative 6, so it could cancel with the positive 6. So we're going to multiply just by 3. Okay, 3 times 5x is 15x. 3 times negative 2y is negative 6y, and 3 times negative 10 is negative 30. And the bottom equation, I'm just going to rewrite it. It's going to be 3x plus 6y equals 66. And again, the idea is to get either x's or y's to eliminate. And as you can see right here, the negative 6y will cancel out with the positive 6y. Now that I've modified this negative 2 to become negative 6. So I guess to reiterate what I did was I first decided, do I want to cancel out x's or do I want to cancel out y's? And I decided to cancel out y's because I could change this to a negative 6 by multiplying the whole thing by 3. If this is a positive 6, I need it to be a negative 6, and I could do that. If I would have thought about canceling x's, I cannot change this 3x to become a negative 5x. I just can't do it. So if I did want to cancel out x's, I would have to modify both equations, like to get a positive 15 up here and a negative 15 down here, which is more work. You could do that, but always choose the quickest, easiest path. So anyways, now that we have the y's ready to eliminate, let's do so by combining the lines. 15 plus 3 is 18. We are talking about x's. Bring down the equal sign. And negative 30 take away, or negative 30 plus 66 is 36. For your final step, you really have an 18 times x, so divide by 18, you will have x equals 2. So that's one answer. Plug it back in to find your other answer. I'm going to plug it into the top equation, and you could use any equation you want. Top equation says 5x minus 2y equals negative 10. 5x minus 2y equals negative 10. There it is. Of course, I put parentheses instead of the x because x equals 2. So I'm going to take that 2 and plug it in right there. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 take away 2y equals negative 10. So I have 2 more steps to solve this red equation. I have to get rid of that 10 by subtracting 10, and you will get negative 2y equals negative 20. And then to get rid of the multiplication of negative 2 in front of the y, divide by negative 2, and that will give us y equals positive 10. So our answer, written as a coordinate, because on our test Friday, on the past test Friday, and on this test Friday, we're going to have to type it in as a coordinate format. So your x value goes first, your y value goes second, and there's your answer, 2, 10. Let's take a look at number 4 right here. Now this one's even more interesting because when you choose, what do you want to do? You want to cancel out x's or y's? Well, you look at the numbers first, like this is a 2, this is a 3, so I need this to be a positive 3, this to be a negative 3. I can't do that. So how about the y's? Well, this is a negative 4, I need a positive 4 down here. I can't do that because 3 times 2 is 6, not 4. So you can't get away with just multiplying one equation by something. So what we need to do is modify both equations. So let's first decide, what do you think is going to be easier, dealing with the x's, which is a 2 and a 3, or dealing with y's, which is a 4 and a 3? What do you want to eliminate, the x's or the y's? Pick one. And it doesn't really matter. X's? Okay, let's cancel out x's. Now, in order for these x's to cancel out, they have to be exact opposite values. So I need to modify the 2 and the 3 to become the same number, but one positive and one negative. So I'm going to take the top equation and multiply it by 3. Now, why am I going to multiply it by 3? Because that'll give me a 6 up there. And the bottom equation, I'm going to multiply that whole thing by negative 2. Now, why am I going to multiply by negative 2? Because that'll give me a negative 6 down there. So if I have a positive 6 up here and a negative 6 down there, then they will cancel. So this is like as hard as it gets, where you have to modify two equations, not just one. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So I'm going to distribute up on top 3 times 2x, that's 6x. 3 times negative 4y, that's negative 12y. 3 times negative 22, that's equals negative 66. So there's my new modified red equation up on top. How did I modify it? I multiplied everything by 3. The new modified bottom equation will be negative 6x. When I distribute right there, when I distribute over here, it'll be a negative 6y. And multiply over here, you get a negative 60. So we combine the lines. Now that the x's are ready to cancel, combine the lines, eliminate the x's, you'll have negative 18y equaling negative 126. Wow, that's ugly. Does anybody happen to have a calculator? We're going to divide by negative 18. We're going to divide by negative 18. Let me see. Hey Siri, what's negative 126 divided by negative 18? Hey Siri, what's negative 26? Oh man, I already messed up. Anybody have that answer yet? 126 divided by 18? Hopefully it's a nice answer. Okay, let me get my calculator. Siri's not working for me right now. 126 divided by 18.
I got 7.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, I just did it right now on the calculator. It is 7. Thank you so much for helping. So we have y equals 7. So we have one answer. We need another answer. Let's plug it into the top equation. 2x minus 4 times 7 equals negative 22. So let's put that 7 right in there. You'll have 2x minus 28 equals negative 22. We're going to have plus 28 and plus 28. So that's going to end up being 2x equaling 6. Final step would be to divide by 2. Divide by 2. X equals 3. Okay? So last week we had simple systems of equations that were already ready to combine and eliminate. Right here you had to modify both equations. So your final answer for this system will be 3, 7. So jumping to number 6 here, we need to get either the x's to eliminate or the y's to eliminate. And we know that they have to be the exact opposite values. So like if this were a 6, it's not a 6, it's a 4. But if it were a 6, I would multiply this by 2. That way the negative 6 would cancel with the positive 6, but I can't do that. Likewise with the y's, I cannot get away with just multiplying one equation. So I need to multiply both equations by something. So it's up to you. Do you want to cancel out the x's or the y's? And it doesn't really matter whether you pick x's or y's. Like if you wanted to cancel out y's, you would have to change this to become a positive 10 and this to a negative 10. That way the positive 10 and negative 10 cancel if you decide to go with y's. If you want to cancel out x's, we'd have to change this to a positive 12 so it could cancel with this changing it to a negative 12. So I'm going to decide to cancel out x's, okay? So if I want the x's to cancel, I'm going to have to modify the whole top equation by multiplying it by 3. Check it out. 3 times 4, that's 12 with an x. 3 times negative 2, that's negative 6 with a y. 3 times 32, that is 96. And down here, we already changed this 4 to become a 12. We need this negative 3 to become a negative 12. So I'm going to multiply that bottom one by 4. And 4 times negative 3 is negative 12 with an x. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20 with a y. And 4 times negative 11 is negative 44. So what I've done is I've modified both equations to be able to get the x's to eliminate. So I need to eliminate these x's. Let's combine these lines, right? Combine the red line with the blue line and watch those x's eliminate. So the x's really do eliminate because a positive 12 and a negative 12 cancel out. There's no more x's. Negative 6 and negative 20, that's a negative 26y. Bring down the equal sign. And 96, take away 44, that'll be 2, that'll be 52. Now this looks really ugly, but let's just keep going. This black equation here says negative 26 times y equals 52. So I need to get rid of the negative 26 by dividing by negative 26. What I do to one side, I do to the other side, divided by negative 26. They do cancel out, and we will have y equaling, and if you do it on a calculator, 52 divided by negative 26, that'll give you a negative 2. Believe it or not, it works out beautifully. Now we have one answer, we need the other answer, so we're going to take that y and we're going to plug it in to any y we want, either the top equation or the bottom original equation. I'm going to go with the top one, and it doesn't really matter, okay? I'm going to go with the top one, so I'm going to rewrite my top equation. It reads 4x minus 2y equals 32, and the y is negative 2, so let me put a negative 2 in there. Let's do the math. 4x negative 2 times negative 2, that's positive 4, equals 32. I need to solve this blue equation. Let's subtract 4. Subtract 4. I will get 4x equals, what is that, 28? Final step, get rid of the multiplication in front of the 4 by dividing by 4 and dividing by 4, and you'll have x equals 7. So you have your two answers there, and of course on the test, we're going to have to type it in as an ordered pair. So our answer will be a coordinate, x first, 7, comma, negative 2. You type that in, hit return, that'll be your answer on the test. Please make sure you don't put any spaces between the 7, the comma, the negative. Put everything together, no spaces on the test when you type it in. But anyways, this is the answer. Now what does that mean? If I would have graphed the top equation and graphed the bottom equation, they would intersect at the location 7, comma, negative 2 on the xy plane. Let's do another even question, number 8. You know, because of the decimals, whatever, let's do it. We're going to do it. Okay, so what freaks people out is decimals, right? Now, you could, if you wanted to, you could multiply the entire top equation by 10, and that would make this a 5x, because multiplying by 10 would move it over, be a 5x. This would become a 5y. Multiply it by 10, that would become a negative 20. But it wouldn't be enough to multiply the bottom one by 10, because this would be 10x, but then when you multiply by 10, it becomes a 2.5y. So you'd have to actually multiply the bottom equation by 100 to get rid of the decimals. But that's only one option. The other option is to look at these decimals and understand them as fractions, okay? So instead of 0.5x, we know what 0.5 is. That simply means 1/2. So you could say 1/2 x plus 0.5y, 1/2 y, equals negative 2. So that's one equation, but just changed from decimals to fractions. The other one, it has x, on the right, x, minus 0.25. Does anybody know what 0.25 is as a fraction? If you don't know, it is 1/4. So that becomes minus 1/4 y equals 6. So all I've done is changed the decimals to fractions. Now, I still don't like fractions though, but it's easier to get rid of these fractions. All you have to do is multiply the entire thing by the denominator of the fraction that you want to get rid of. So up on top, I'm going to multiply everything by 2, and it's going to give me a new top equation down here. When I go 2 times 1/2, it cancels out. It will leave me a 1x. When I go 2 times 1/2, that'll cancel out. It'll leave me a plus 1y. And then 2 times negative 2 equals negative 4. And the bottom equation, I want to multiply everything by 4, and it will give me, you know what, maybe I should have written these in the correct color. On the top one, I modified it with the red, so I'm going to put it in red. The bottom equation, I want to modify with the blue. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 1/4 is negative 1y. And 4 times 6 is 24. And as you could see now, after getting rid of those fractions, we now have a system that's ready to combine and eliminate. So we have 4x plus x, that'll give us 5x. And the y and the negative y completely eliminate. And the negative 4 and the 24, that equals 20. So we have this simple equation, 5x equals 20, divide by 5, x equals 4. We have one answer, we need the other. Let's plug it into any equation we want. We could plug it into the top equation, and you could leave these as fractions if you want. So instead of 0.5x, we're going to write 1/2 x. And instead of x, I want to put the 4 because x does equal 4. We figured that out down here. And then I'm going to put 1/2 y plus 1/2 y. 1/2 y equals -2, equals -2. Okay, so we know that when we multiply 4 times 1/2, right here, 4 times 1/2, 1/2 of 4 is 2. We already know that, so you're going to have a 2 right here. Technically, if you put it over 1 and you multiply 4 times 1, 2 times 1, you get 4 over 2, which gives you 2. So then we have 2 plus 1/2 y equals -2. So we need to solve this thing. We're going to solve by subtracting 2, 1/2 y equals -4. When you subtract -2, take away 2, that gives you a -4. Final step would be to multiply both sides by 2, thus giving you y equals -8. So your answer to number 8 is the coordinate 4, -8. And I was going to skip it because I know a lot of people freak out with decimals, but I just wanted to show you that it's really not that bad, right? I mean, you could change decimals to whole numbers by multiplying by 10 or by 100, or you could change them to fractions and then get rid of fractions by multiplying everything by the denominator of the fractions that you want to get rid of. So on number 10, we want either x's or y's to cancel. And in order for the items to cancel, you have to have the exact opposite value. So like if this were a negative, this is a -3y, it'd be good if this could be a +3y, but I can't change 2 to become +3 unless I multiply it by a fraction, and we're not going to do that. So if I wanted to cancel out y's, I would have to change this to become a 6 or -6, and this to become the opposite of that 6. But it's easier to cancel out x's, as you could see, because right here you have a 6x, and this 2x could be changed to become a -6. If you have a 6 up here and you could change this to become a -6, that's the easiest path, right? So as a matter of fact, I want to compare, all right? So I want to compare. Let me copy it and move it over here to the side. So I want to multiply the bottom equation by -3, and it'll change the bottom equation. -3 times 2x is -6x. -3 times 2y is -6y. -3 times 22 is -66. And on the top, I'm just going to leave it the same. I'm just going to rewrite it down here. 6x minus 3y equals 21. And now that I've modified the bottom equation, now I am able to eliminate these x's. The x's will disappear, and I will have -9y equaling, what would that be, -45? -45. Okay, so we have a simple equation, -9y equals -45. That's -9 times y equals -45, divided by -9, divided by -9. That will give you y equals 5. So you have one answer, you need the other. All you have to do is plug it in to find the other answer. So I plug in the y into either this one up here or this one down here. It doesn't really matter. I've already used both of them. So I'm going to plug it into the bottom one. It looks a little easier. I'm going to rewrite it. 2x plus 2y equals 22. Now, why did I put parentheses instead of y? Because I know that y equals 5. So I'm going to take the value of 5 and put it where the y used to be at. So what I really have is 2x plus 10, because 2 times 5 is 10, equals 22. Let's solve this thing by subtracting 10, subtracting 10. That'll give us 2x equals 12, which means that my final step would be to divide by 2. So divide by 2, cancel it out, x equals 6. So we have our x value of 6 and our y value of 5, and that's how we're going to have to type it in on our solutions on the test. Now, I do want to take this opportunity to show you that there's many roads to the same place, right? I decided to cancel out the x's, but I didn't have to cancel out x's. I could have canceled out y's. Let me take the same exact equation, and solve it right here by eliminating the y's, okay? But in order to eliminate y's, I would have to, this is a negative, this is a positive, so that's nice that they're already opposite values right there. Not opposite values, but one's a negative, one's a positive. But I need this 3 to become a certain number with the negative, and this 2 to become the same exact number that I changed that one to, but positive. So when you're thinking about 3 and 2, what number could they both be changed to? They could both be changed to the number 6, right? 3 could be changed to 6, 2 could be changed to 6, and you have a negative already and a positive already. So let's change this 3 to a 6 and change this 2 to a 6. That's if I decided at the beginning to cancel out y's, right, instead of x's. So if I wanted to cancel out y's, I would multiply the top equation by 2 and the bottom equation by 3. So as you could see, it's a little bit more work if I would have chose to cancel out y's. Originally, I decided to cancel out x's, and all I had to do was modify one equation, and then I got my x's to cancel. Right here, I'm gonna have to modify both equations. So up on top, 2 times 6 is 12x, 2 times negative 3 is negative 6y, 2 times 21 equals 42. Bottom equation, I'm gonna go in blue, 3 times 2x is 6x, 3 times 2 is positive 6 with the y, 3 times 22 is 66. So I've modified both, and now I really do have the y's ready to eliminate. One's negative, one's positive. 12 plus 6 is 18, and we're talking about x's. Bring down the equal sign. 66 plus 42, that is 108. 108. Is that right? Yeah, 108. Okay, so now this is a weird looking problem, but let's trust that we did things right. That's really saying 18 times x, so let's divide by 18. What you do to one side, do to the other side. X equals 108 divided by 18. I'm going to do that on my calculator right here. 108 divided by 18. 108 divided by 18 equals 6. So luckily, we get a nice, beautiful number 6, and that is one answer. And if you plug it into any equation you want to find the other, you'll be able to do so. I'm going to pick the bottom equation, 2x, but instead of x, I'm plugging in the 6, plus 2y equals 22. Again, 2x plus 2y equals 22. There it is, but I put parentheses because I'm plugging in the 6 for the x. So I really have 12 plus 2y equals 22. Subtract 12, cancel, subtract 12. You'll end up with 2y equals 10, and I'm running out of space right there. Let me write it over here. 2y equals 10. Divide both sides by 2, and you will get y equals 5. So these, the x equals 6 and y equals 5 are your answers, 6 comma 5. As you could see, it's the same exact answer as the first method of doing it. So there's so many different roads to the same place. You could choose to cancel out x's. You could choose to cancel out y's. I mean, the smart thing to do is to think, what's my quickest, easiest path? And that's why the first method, I just said, well, I could change this. I could change this to a negative 6, and I don't even have to mess with the top one. That's why I decided to multiply by negative 3 on the first method. But you could, as we did right here, multiplied both equations to get the y's to eliminate. And not only that, I mean, maybe somebody else didn't change this to a 6. Maybe somebody else decided to change this to a 12 and this to a 12, right? So you could have modified the top equation by 4 to make this a negative 12 and modified the bottom equation by 6 to make it a positive 12, and that could have been solved that way, and you'd still get the same exact answers. There's so many roads to the same place in mathematics. I don't know, should we do one more? Last even one? Number 12, we need to either cancel out x's or y's. Now, if I wanted to cancel out x's, I would have to modify both top and bottom. That's 2 equations that I have to modify. If I want to cancel out y's, all I have to do is multiply this 2 by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And then guess what? This 4 would cancel out with that negative 4. So think about it first, like, which one's easier to cancel, x's or y's? Now, sometimes there is no easier way. I mean, you just got to pick one. I either want to cancel out x's or cancel out y's. Right here, there is an easier way to go about it. The easier way is to cancel out y's. Why is that easier? Because all you have to do is multiply the entire top equation by 2, and that will change this positive 2 to a positive 4, which will then cancel with that negative 4. Okay, so let's distribute and rewrite over here on the side. So I'm going to take the 2 times negative 3x is negative 6x, 2 times 2y is positive 4y, 2 times negative 15 equals negative 30. The bottom equation, I'm not even going to change anything because I already have this positive 4 ready to cancel with that negative 4. So I'm just going to rewrite the bottom equation down here. So I'll have a 2x minus 4y equals 26. And when we combine the lines, the negative 6 and the positive 2 gives us a negative 4x. These guys completely eliminate. The equal sign comes down. And 30 take away 26. That is negative 4. So we have this blue simple equation of negative 4 times x equals negative 4. So divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. You will get your answer, your first answer, x equals positive 1. A negative 4 divided by a negative 4 is positive 1. You have one answer, you need the other, all you do is plug it in. You could either plug it into the top one or the bottom one, whichever you choose. I am just, for no reason, but I'm just going to pick the bottom equation. 2x minus 4y equals 26. Oh, whoops. Instead of x, what should I do? I should put parentheses. So let's put parentheses down here and plug in that x value of 1 right in there. So I really have 2 minus 4y equals 26 because 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract 2 will end up with negative 4y equals 24. Final step will be to divide both sides by that negative 4. We'll get y equals negative 6. So our answer number 12 as a coordinate will be 1 comma negative 6. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're working on a linear, solving a system with linear combinations and everything eliminates, I'm talking about the x's, the y's, and the numbers. If you end up with 0 equals 0, that's when you say infinitely many solutions because it's the same equation. It's the same line. They're going to land right on top of each other. If you're working on solving a system with linear combinations and the x's and y's both eliminate and the numbers don't, you end up with something impossible like 0 equals 5 or 0 equals negative 24. That's when you say no solution. Those are special cases, and we'll review that later.